Through you, Mr. Chair, I can confirm that it is 4 p.m. and we are now live streaming and recording. You may begin the meeting.
I'd like to call to order and declare quorum is present. Can we verbally hear the land recognition statement?
The town of Pelham is situated on treaty land steeped in the rich history of the First Nations, such as the Haudenosaunee, Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe, including the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. This territory is covered by the Upper Canada Treaties and is protected by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement. Today, many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people from across Turtle Island live and work in Niagara. The town of Pelham stands in solidarity with all Indigenous peoples, past and present, acknowledging that our high standard of living is a result of the resources and lasting friendship of the Indigenous peoples. Mr. Chair, you may proceed with your introduction.
Hi, welcome everyone. I'd like to basically introduce everyone that's here today on our side. I'd like to start off with myself. My name is John Kalpa, I'm the chair. Brenda Stand on my right, and Sue Sarko also on my right as part of the committee. The Assistant Secretary Treasurer is Sarah. The Director of Community Planning and Development is Pam Dusling. Planning Manager Shannon LaRocque. Planner Andrew Edwards. And the Engineering Technician Gim Ledesma. I said that right. So this is a hybrid hearing of the Committee of Adjustment for the Town of Pelham. Everyone present and viewing at home via live stream will be given an opportunity to comment on the applications being heard. Agencies commenting on applications may request that certain conditions be imposed should an application be approved. Voicing objections to these conditions will not adversely affect the committee's decision. The purpose of the application and relative correspondence will be heard, following which the applicant will be given the opportunity to address the application. During the public portion of each application, we will hear from anyone wishing to submit verbal comments or submit a written comment via email to clerks@pelham.ca. Comments received following the public portion will not be considered. At the conclusion of the discussion, the committee will render a decision and advise of any applicable conditions. Specific wording for conditions may be determined by the committee following the hearing. Copies of the decisions will be mailed to the applicant, agent, and members of the public that have submitted comments. Notices of decision can also be obtained by request to the Secretary Treasurer. Committee members are asked to raise your hand if you would like to speak and vote. Applicants, agents, and attendees are advised that they are free to leave the webinar hearing once a decision has been made on their application. I'm looking for a motion to approve the agenda today.
Motion to approve the agenda.
I second.
Thank you. Pecuniary interest. Does any member of this panel have a pecuniary interest in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act in any of the applications to be considered at this hearing?
I have none.
I have none.
And I also have none. Okay. Secretary Treasurer, are there any requests for withdrawal or adjournment?
Through you, Mr. Chair, there has not been any request for withdrawal or adjournment.
Okay, why don't we get to our first application here? Could you please read the summary presentation for file A5-2025P 952 Foss Road, Pelham?
Okay, we're just going to get it up on screen there.
Sure.
I'm sorry. Okay, we are having an audio issue at the moment. Just give us a moment.
There it goes. Yes, we did hear a ringtone.
Test.
Is it our mics or? No.
Don't know. Okay, I'll proceed with the presentation, and then we may get word if our volume is working.
Okay.
Okay, so to begin, the Town of Pelham is holding hybrid Committee of Adjustment hearings. A hybrid hearing involves a mixture of in-person and remote attendance and participation. The following presentations are based upon the Town of Pelham's Planning Department report and analysis. Please note that no decisions have been made prior to this public hearing. All comments received from commenting agencies and the public have been forwarded in full to the Committee of Adjustment members for their consideration and will appear summarized on the slides to follow. Decorum. The Committee of Adjustment is a formal public hearing requiring decorum, meaning all comments are to be made through the chair. If you have pre-registered to speak virtually or are participating in person, you will be given an opportunity to address the committee at the public portion of the meeting. If someone ahead of you has made the same comments, there is no need to repeat the same. Please keep all comments concise. If you are live streaming and wish to submit a comment live, please email clerks@pelham.ca. Please note, comments must be received during the public portion of the meeting. Otherwise, they will not be considered. Inappropriate comments will not be tolerated. Please note that if decorum is lost, the meeting may be recessed and persons will be asked to leave. So through you, Mr. Chair, that brings us to our first presentation, which is an application for minor variance, file A5-2025, being 952 Foss Road. Excerpts from the planning report. The subject land is located on the south side of Foss Road, lying east of Regional Road 24, known as Victoria Avenue, in the town of Pelham, municipally known as 952 Foss Road. The application seeks relief from Section 3.2.2A, on-farm diversified uses, to permit on-farm diversified uses notwithstanding the uses are not directly related to the permitted agricultural use on the lot and shall primarily serve the existing permitted agricultural use on the lot and the existing permitted agricultural use on surrounding lots in the area. Section 3.2.2B, to permit on-farm diversified uses notwithstanding the product is not produced by or derived from the principal agricultural use on the lot as the primary source of the majority of the product. Section 3.2.2K, subsection 3, on-farm diversified uses, requesting 2 retail outlets be permitted on the lot, whereas a maximum of 1 retail outlet is permitted. And Section 10A14, exceptions, requesting a minimum of 7 square meters gross leasable floor area dedicated to the sale of products produced or manufactured on the farm property is permitted, where a minimum of 50%, being 25 square meters, of the total retail area is required. To date, following comments have been received. Building, C condition. Public Works, no comments. Niagara Region, C condition. And regional staff commented that the proposal is generally consistent with the intent of the provincial planning statement and does not conflict with provincial and regional on-farm diversified use policies. Staff offer no objection to the application, subject to the satisfaction of town staff, and provided the scale of the uses remain as existing and are not expanded in the future, including parking and infrastructure to support the uses. 4 public comments were received, and they are summarized as follows. Support the variances, support the reuse and revitalization of the property, and express support for the proposed uses as a positive addition to the community. Minor variance test 1, the variance is minor in nature. Relating to sections 3.2.2A and B on-farm diversified uses, yes, the variance is minor in nature, as the on-farm diversified uses are limited in area and are located on a portion of the site that is not actively farmed, similar in character to the surrounding area and not anticipated to have negative impacts in terms of traffic and noise. Section 3.2.2K, subsection 3, yes. The variance is minor in nature as the additional retail outlet is functionally an extension of the existing cafe and bakery and is not anticipated to significantly impact traffic, noise, or the area's character. Section 10A14, yes. The variance is minor in nature as the proposed retail component still maintains greater than 50% of the retail component dedicated to the sale of products produced or manufactured on the farm property. Test 2 is the variance desirable for the development or use of land. Relating to sections 3.2.2A and B on farm diversified uses, yes, the variance would support the existing agricultural use of the property, providing an additional source of income for the owners, ensuring the remainder of the property is available for agriculture. Section 3.2.2K, subsection 3, yes. The additional outlet will enable the owner an additional economic opportunity to ensure the continued viability of the agricultural use of the property while having a negligible impact on the character and continued use of the land for agricultural purposes. Section 10A14, yes. The variance proposes replacing the fixed requirement with a ratio of 50%, which more accurately reflects the original intent of the provision of the zoning bylaw. Test 3, does the variance maintain the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw? With respect to section 3.2.2A and B on farm diversified uses, yes. The use will not detract from the ability of the lands to be farmed, and impacts on the agricultural character of the area is limited. Section 3.2.2K, subsection 3, yes. The additional retail outlet use is not anticipated to be incompatible with the surrounding area, and it is not anticipated to cause adverse impacts in terms of traffic volumes, noise, or taking agricultural lands out of active production. Section 10A14, yes, the variance proposes replacing the fixed requirement with a ratio of 50% or 11 square meters, which more accurately reflects the original intent of the zoning bylaw provision. Test 4, does the variance maintain the general intent and purpose of the official plan? Relating to all variances, yes. On-farm diversified uses have been introduced as permitted use in the town's official plan, allowing for an opportunity for farmers to generate additional revenue while balancing farmland preservation. The use allows the owners to enhance the farm's economic viability while supporting rural economic development. In the long run, this supports the agricultural use of the lands. Based on the analysis, staff are of the opinion that the proposal is generally consistent with the intent of the provincial planning statement and does not conflict with the provincial and regional on-farm diversified use policies. Planning staff recommend that application number A5-2025P be approved subject to the following conditions. the applicant enter into a site plan agreement with the town of Pelham to the satisfaction of the Director of Community Planning and Development, obtain all necessary building permits to the satisfaction of the chief building official, install the new sewage systems in accordance with the Ontario Building Code and conditional Niagara Region septic permit. To you, Mr. Chair, the agent, Ethan Lamont, he's with us today, and he does have a presentation, but I will check with the Secretary Treasurer to see how our volume is working. Thank you. So to you, Mr. Chair.
So good evening, Chair, committee members. I'm Ethan Lamont. I'm a senior planner with Upper Canada Consultants. Excuse me. I do have a presentation, but given the positive staff recommendation and strong community support, I'll forego giving that presentation, though I can certainly refer to it if need be. I'll just simply say that I agree with staff's analysis and recommendation for approval, and I'm just here to answer any questions if there are any. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Has anyone pre-registered to speak via Zoom to come into the meeting? Just want to make sure.
We do not have any pre-registered speakers, so you may wish to open it up to the gallery if they wish.
Okay. Is there anyone attending that would like to speak as well, just before we go to our side? No? Okay. All right. Any questions or comments from the committee?
Through the chair, I guess I have one question. I was out at the site today at lunch, and there didn't appear to be a sign notification of this hearing on the property. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Certainly, through you, Chair. So I did speak with the property owner today once we found out the sign was missing. They promptly put it back up as soon as they were made aware, and just mentioned to me that they've been monitoring it over since it was posted, and they've had to put it up a few times. It's a pretty windy area there, so they were keeping track of the sign and certainly replacing it as they noticed it was down. So hopefully that answers your question.
Thank you.
Any more questions from our side, guys? Well, if there's no more comments, we can close the public portion of this meeting. Can I ask for a motion to close, please?
I approve motion to close.
And I second the motion.
Mr. Chair, I can confirm that I have also checked the emails at 4:18 PM, just to ensure that there's no comments.
Okay. Okay, thank you. At this point, I think we can look to see if there's any other reason why we couldn't move forward with a conclusion and an outcome.
I can read the motion if you'd like.
Thank you.
I just was going to say that they're within an existing building, and so that's not going to impact the agricultural land, so I don't have any concerns with the proposed development. So I'll read the motion. File A5 2025P 952 Foss Road. Applications are made for minor variances to permit on-farm diversified uses, notwithstanding the uses are not directly related to the existing permitted agricultural uses on the lot. To permit on-farm diversified uses, notwithstanding the product is not produced by or derived from the principal agricultural uses on the lot as the primary source of the majority of the product. To permit 2 retail outlets, to permit a minimum of 7 square meter gross leasable area dedicated to the sale of products produced or manufactured on the farm, and the application is granted. The variances are minor in nature as the on-farm diversified uses are limited in area and are located on a portion of the site that is not actively farmed, similar in character to the surrounding area, and not anticipated to negatively impact traffic and noise. The additional retail outlet is functionally an extension of the existing cafe and bakery. The proposed retail component still maintains greater than 50% of the retail component dedicated to the sale of products produced or manufactured on the farm property. The intent of the zoning bylaw is maintained. The intent of the official plan is maintained. The proposals are desirable for the lands as the uses are not anticipated to be incompatible with the surrounding agricultural uses cause adverse impacts in terms of traffic volumes, noise, or taking agricultural lands out of active production. The additional outlet will enable the owner an additional economic opportunity to ensure the continued viability of the agricultural use of the property while having a minimal impact on the character and continued use of the land for agricultural purposes. The variances propose replacing the fixed requirement with a ratio of 50%, which more accurately reflects the original intent of the provision of the zoning bylaw. These applications are granted without prejudice to any other application in the town of Pelham. The Committee of Adjustment considered the written and oral comments and agrees with the minor variance report analysis and recommendation that this application meets the Planning Act test for minor variances. There's 3 conditions: enter into a site plan agreement with the town to the satisfaction of the Director of Community Planning and Development, obtain all necessary building permits to the satisfaction of the Chief Building Official, install the new sewage systems in accordance with the Ontario Building Code, and conditional Niagara Region septic permit.
Thank you. The only comment I just wanted to make before we go to a decision here was that it was great to see, the community support behind this. A lot of times we don't get that kind of commitment or feedback, right? So I just wanted to mention that. I think that was, it's an important piece that we should talk about. I wish more and more people did that, but it's great to see that. Okay, I think it's time for us to render a decision at this point. Can someone please put a motion forward to grant?
Motion to grant?
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
We're all in. Thank you. Okay.
You ready? Okay, we're just getting our next presentation. So our next file is A342024, relating to 75 and 77 Marie Street. The property is west of Rice Road and north of Merritt Road in the Saffron Meadows Phase 3, Stage 2, in the town of Pelham, municipally known as 75 to 77 Marie Street. The application seeks relief from Section 10 exceptions, RM 196, requesting a maximum driveway width of 6.02 meters or 66% of the lot frontage for a semi-detached dwelling, whereas the maximum driveway width for a semi-detached dwelling is 7 meters or 50% of the lot frontage or 20% of the lot depth, whichever is less. To date, the following comments have been received. Building, C condition. Public Works, downspouts are to discharge to grade, not walkways. Please revise the drainage and grading plan and C condition. 2 public comments were received and they are summarized as follows. Opposes the variance, concerned with visual impacts of cars parked side by side, concerns with lack of green space on the front yard, concern with that the block will be out of character with the surrounding neighborhood, concerned with cars blocking sidewalks, and concerned with snow removal. Minor variance test 1, the variance is minor in nature, yes. No significant impacts on drainage, sightlines, or pedestrian accessibility are anticipated. The character of the property remains consistent with the surrounding subdivision where wider driveways exist. The increase from 50% to 66% is a minor adjustment that is not anticipated to create adverse impacts on neighboring properties or the streetscape. Test 2, is the variance desirable for the development or use of land? Yes. The additional space will accommodate the required parking for the units on site, reducing reliance on on-street parking and associated street congestion and traffic flow concerns. Test 3, does the variance maintain the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw? Yes. The variance supports the zoning bylaw's goal of providing adequate parking for additional dwelling units. The proposed variance will facilitate off-street parking, reducing reliance on on-street parking. Does the variance maintain the general intent and purpose of the official plan? Yes. The official plan states that development and redevelopment shall maintain and enhance the character and stability of residential neighborhoods with regards to scale and density. The variance supports intensification and the provision of additional rental housing. The variance would allow for appropriate development on an existing lot. Further, the development would appear to comply with the East Fonthill Urban Design Guidelines. Based on the analysis, staff is of the opinion the variance is minor in nature, conforms to the general policies and intent of both the official plan and the zoning bylaw, and is appropriate for the development and use of the land. Planning staff recommend that application number A342024P be approved, subject to the following conditions. The applicant obtain all necessary building permits prior to construction commencing to the satisfaction of the chief building official, submit a comprehensive lot grading and drainage plan demonstrating that drainage neither relies nor negatively impacts neighboring properties to the satisfaction of the Director of Public Works or his designate, obtain approval for a driveway entrance and culvert permit as applicable, issued through Public Works Department to town standards, and the applicant shall bear the cost associated with these works. To you, Mr. Chair, the applicant, Mr. Eric Bogard, is with us today.
Good afternoon. My name is Eric Beauregard. I'm a planning coordinator at Upper Canada Consultants, and I am the agent for Mountain View Homes Niagara Limited, the owner, a developer, and the builder Home Nation. So the requested variance would provide on-site parking that can accommodate the proposed semi-detached dwelling and second dwelling units. The proposed development provides additional housing and housing options, is a modest form of intensification that implements the provincial planning statement and town official plan policies. I have reviewed staff's report and agree with staff's recommendation. So I'm able to answer any questions that the committee may have.
Okay. For the public portion of the meeting, does anyone have any questions or comments? Yes. I noticed that we have someone on. Is that? Is Sergey on your team?
Yes,
Okay.
that's he's with Home Nation, the builder,
Okay.
and he's just online in case.
Oh,
there's
just
any-
listening. Okay.
Yeah, he's mostly
Just wasn't sure if you wanted to speak or not.
No.
That's all. Yes, because he has an opportunity at this point to do that. So good. Okay. Anyone else online, Sarah, that is asking any questions or anything?
So we do not have anyone pre-registered, and you can open it up to the gallery.
Anyone else from the? No. Good. Okay. Thank you.
Online.
Let's see here. I do want to open it up to our committee for questions at this point, just to see if there's anything that's unclear. I mean, from my perspective, the drawings are very clear. I think you're just widening the driveway. Is that basically what you're doing? I mean, that seems to be the.
correct.
Yeah.
The variance is to
Okay.
permit the driveway width.
Right. Okay. Committee, any other questions or comments?
I have no questions.
Yeah, fairly straightforward. So, okay, can I get a motion, please, to close the public portion or this?
Motion to close the public portion of the meeting?
Thank you. Can I get a seconder, please? Yeah.
I second.
Okay.
In addition to that, Mr. Chair, I
Yes.
have checked the clerk's email, and we have not received any emails as of 4:30 PM.
Okay, so I think we are ready, I believe, to render a decision based on a formal motion. Would you like to read the motion for us, please?
Motion to approve file A34 2024P. Relief of Section 10 exemptions RM 196 is granted. The variances are minor in nature as no significant impacts on drainage, sightlines, or pedestrian accessibility are anticipated, and it is not anticipated to create adverse impacts on neighboring properties or the streetscape. Intent of zoning bylaw is maintained, intent of official plan is maintained. The proposal is desirable for the land as it improves the site's functionality for the owner and future tenants of the second dwelling units and will facilitate an additional parking space for the units. This application is granted without prejudice to any other application in the town of Pelham. The Committee of Adjustment considered the written and oral comments and agrees with the minor variance report analysis and recommendation that this application meets the Planning Act tests for minor variance. Conditions that all necessary building permits are obtained prior to construction commencing to the satisfaction of the chief building official, that the applicant submit a comprehensive lot grading and drainage plan demonstrating that the drainage neither relies nor negatively impacts neighboring properties to the satisfaction of the Director of Public Works or designate, and that the applicant obtain approval for a driveway entrance and culvert permit as applicable issued through the Public Works Department to town standards. The applicant shall bear all costs associated with these works.
And I second that motion.
Terrific, thank you.
Through you, Mr. Chair, if we could get a formal vote on the matter.
Yes, please. I vote in favor.
Yes.
Second.
Great, that's 3 yeses. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Okay. Looks like they all left you there all alone there, eh? Okay. Our next application, please.
So our last application relates to an application for consent, file B5 2025, relating to 968 Church Street. Application is made for consent to a partial discharge of mortgage and consent to convey 675 square meters of land, being Part 2, to create a new residential lot. Part 1 is to be retained for continued residential use of the property known as 968 Church Street. To date, the following comments have been received. Building, no comments. Public Works, please be advised that Church Street between Canberra Road to Foss Road is currently under maintenance and should expire in the summer of 2025. And C condition. Niagara Region, Niagara Regional Public Works, Growth Management and Planning Division staff are of the opinion that the proposed consent application is consistent with the provincial planning statement and in conformity with the provincial and regional policies for lot creation within the urban area. And C condition. Canadian Pacific Railway, no comments were received at the time of writing this report. Hydro One, no comments. No public comments were received at the time of writing this report. Planning staff are of the opinion that the proposed consent is consistent with the provincial planning statement and conforms with provincial, regional, and local plans. The resulting parcel complies with applicable zoning regulations, and upon satisfaction of the conditions of approval, is not anticipated to negatively impact the surrounding neighborhood with respect to traffic, privacy, and stormwater management. Planning staff recommend that application number B5 2025P be approved, subject to the following conditions: that the applicant sign the Town of Pelham Standard Memorandum of Understanding explaining that development charges and cash in lieu of the dedication of land for park purposes are required prior to a building permit being issued. Obtain a driveway access and culvert permit from the town for the construction of a new driveway or any modifications to existing driveways or entrances, and the installation and/or modification of new entrances be completed in accordance with town standards. Submit an overall lot grading and drainage plan to demonstrate that the drainage does not negatively impact nor rely on neighboring properties. Confirm that no existing utilities currently cross the proposed new property line. Should any services cross this line, the applicant will be responsible for costs associated with their relocation or removal. Individually service Part 2 with its own sanitary and water connections in accordance with Town of Pelham engineering standards, and installation of services require a temporary works permit that must be obtained through the Public Works Department. These works are to be completed prior to consent, and the applicant shall bear all costs associated with these works. And locate cards are to be provided to the town once the works are complete. Sign an undertaking to ensure that prior to the sale of the property, the owner shall disclose to any potential purchaser that the drawings for any proposed dwelling on the subject property should be stamped by an acoustical engineer to ensure any future development is constructed to minimize any noise and vibration exceedance from the rail line. Provide a registrable legal description of the subject parcel together with a copy of the deposited reference plan, if applicable, for use in the issuance of the certificate of consent, and provide the final certification fee of $445 payable to the Town of Pelham. To you, Mr. Chair, I believe the owner, Jeremiah Brown, is with us today.
Aye.
Through the chair, I don't have any presentation, and I have no issues with the conditions that were placed, and I agree with staff recommendations, but I can answer any questions if there are any.
Thank you. I don't think I have any questions based on the sketch that we had there. It's fairly straightforward, and as long as the town's okay with, the changes. I mean, the railway tracks running through the yard is, I'm just curious about that. I mean, there's a lot that's conditional on that, and you're okay with those conditions. So I think that's fine from all aspects from my perspective. Anyone else on the committee here have a question?
No, I have no questions. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Does anyone online have any questions or comments or?
So we do not have any pre-registered speakers.
Okay. Well, let's, if I could get a motion then to close the public portion, that would be great.
Motion to close the public portion of the meeting?
I second.
Thank you. Thank you.
And again, at 4:39, I gave the clerks at pelham.ca email a check, and we have not received any emails there.
Okay. Can I get somebody to read the motion?
File B5 2025P is granted with the following conditions. Driveway access to the culvert permit from the town required to build a new driveway or modify an existing one. All work must meet town standards. Part 2 must have its own sanitary and water connections per Town of Pelham engineering standards. A temporary works permit from the Public Works Department is required for installation. All work must be completed before consent at the applicant's expense. Locate cards must be submitted to the town after completion. Submit an overall lot grading and drainage plan to demonstrate that the drainage does not negatively impact nor rely on neighboring properties. Confirm that no existing utilities cross the proposed new property line. Should any services cross this property line, the applicant will be responsible for the relocation and/or removal costs. So for the satisfaction of planning, the following conditions: sign the Town of Pelham Standard Memorandum of Understanding explaining that development charges and cash in lieu of the dedication of land for park purposes are required prior to the issuance of a building permit. Sign an undertaking ensuring prior to the sale of the property, the owner shall disclose to any potential purchaser that the drawings for any proposed dwelling on the subject property should be stamped for an acoustical engineer to ensure any future dwelling is constructed to minimize any exceedances to noise and vibration from the rail line. To the satisfaction of the Secretary Treasurer, provide a registerable legal description and deposited reference plan. Provide final certification fee of $445. This decision is based on the following reasons. The application conforms to and complies with the town official plan, regional policy plan, and provincial planning statement, town's zoning bylaw. The decision is rendered having regards to Section 51, subsection 24, and 51, subsection 25 of the Planning Act. And the committee considered all written oral submissions and finds that the subject to the conditions, this application meets the Planning Act criteria, is consistent, and complies with provincial, regional, and town planning policy.
That sure is a lot to say, okay. You know, it's okay. Anyways,
I second the motion.
thank you.
Through you, Mr. Chair, if we could get a formal vote on the matter? All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. This brings us to approval of minutes.
Yes, can I have someone please set a motion to approve our minutes today?
Motion to approve minutes?
And I'll second that, sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you, Mr. Chair. That brings us to adjournment of the meeting.
All right. Yeah,
Can I get a mover on that?
nothing that controversial, you know, it's just,
We're
oh, yeah. Yeah, I am.
Can I get a mover on
I
that?
just leave it on. Oh, sorry.
On the adjournment.
Oh, yes. Sorry, I missed all that. What am I doing?
A seconder for
Oh,
the
I thought
adjournment?
Motion to adjourn.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I second it.
I thought.
Thank you.
Sorry. Are we good?
Okay.